This bouquet will be constructed with brightly coloured gerberas and roses, and the foliages used will be gum, which is an excellent filler for bouquets, and leather fern. Now, in sorting your pieces of gum, choose carefully. Look at the length of your flowers to the length of the gum. Do you want the gum to come through the flowers, or do you want it to be slightly below the flowers? If it's to protrude beyond the flowers, this is more difficult and requires more skill. Peek the gum to the centre, and you'll notice the rotational pattern of rounding the pieces of gum into the shape, the domed shape, that we require. It would also be possible to arrange this formation within the container, which you've seen previously. See that doming shape? It's very important, and any little areas that are not quite fitting within that shape are tidied up with your snips. The gerbera is being presented right into the centre of the bouquet. That's the focal bloom. That is your axis of balance. Each of the gerberas have a wire support, 0.71 green painted wire long, which has been inserted into the base of the calyx and brought down the stem. It can be locked with some short pieces of parafilm. However, this is optional. One of the problems if you don't is that as you feed the flower through, the wire can get caught on the foliage. The roses are being dispersed evenly between the gerberas. Now, with the rotation, as well as the crossing of the stems, we have an open look to this bouquet. Therefore, we're maximising the surface area of the flowers and the space between them. The gum has set the foliage base, and therefore the distribution you're seeing is even. If there is any component that's not quite right, at this stage you can move it. It's all held in your hand. Alternatively, it could be made in a container and then taken out and tied. Very nice open shape. If you work within a pattern of Gerberas rose, that's a very good pattern for this type of bouquet, particularly when you're using different colour tones. You can see, looking from the side of this bouquet, the gum is sitting with the line of the flowers. It is not dominant, therefore surpassing the flowers. So it is an excellent base for the shape that we are working within. Like the foundations of a house, the foundations, if they are strong, the house will stand. When you're making bouquets, if you commence with a foliage base, and that is your option, that base must set the shape that the flowers are going to follow within the bouquet design. Look down on the centre of the bouquet as you are making it. You'll be able to see your colour disbursement. And now we're going to add the leather fern, which will form a skirt. Some designers will use embellishments like cellophane, different tissues. There are many different options. If you want it to look more natural, use the foliage and that will complete the design. There is no need for ribbon or any other form of embellishment with the bouquet. You can see the size with the leather fern is looking quite considerable. We've made the most of every flower and every placement within this design. And that's a good key to a high standard of floral work. Notice the spraying of the stems. If these were cut, this bouquet would stand on its stems. So therefore you have the openness at the top, the tightness at the holding, and the openness at the base, as the stems are crossed. In using a tie, some people use wire, some use tie tape, some use elastic bands. If you use wire, you can see the locking process there, you would only use wire when you are not using fleshy stems. With woody stems it's fine. With fleshy stems you need to have foliage so that the wire doesn't cut into the stems, like hyacinths or lilies, arum lilies, calla lilies and so forth. This is the other option of your tie tape with a double knot, and then fasten. When you put your bouquet on the bench, you may need to lift the gerberas so that they don't bruise. Neaten up the stems, cut them on a good sharp angle. Remember, for that surface area, you don't want any blunt cut stems sitting at the base of a container. This is a very traditional crystal vase. Stems inserted. The base of the shape of the container allows the stems to open a little. Any minor placements that need adjustments can take place at this time. That focal bloom must be in the centre of the bouquet. Rotate. Check the disbursements of colour. Notice the larger roses around the central gerbera and slightly tighter ones towards the edges. That process could also be reversed, but don't mix and match. Here you are, you check all spacings, and there's your finished product. A little bit of gum just being tidied up. Always check those last final details, and make sure if you're trimming gum, you go right to the fork of the leaves. Remember, if you have trouble holding these in your hand, you can arrange into the container and then take them out and tie. And as you gain more experience, you will feel comfortable about arranging a bouquet such as this in your hand.